Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I am telling you, if I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. This podcast is all about one word, and that word is perseverance, right? There's a saying that the difference between a big shot and a little shot is a big shot is just a little shot that just keeps shooting. And what I mean by that specifically for our business, for the wholesaling business, I have a 22-year-old wholesaler out of Houston, Texas, that part-time made 22,000 cold calls before he got his first deal, and now he's rolling. He's done 4 deals, over $40,000 in income, plus a deal that we're going to break down that gave him a ton of equity because he kept it for himself. It is my pleasure to introduce to the Wholesaling Inc. Podcast, to the Rhino Tribe, Alotu. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brent. Thanks for having me. This is a great experience.
This is incredible.
Yeah,
you're here. You're in the TTP studio.
Yeah.
You are. You're going to share your journey.
Yep.
I mean, you were in college. Mm-hmm. You graduated. You get a full-time job.
Yeah.
As a chemical engineer.
Yep.
I mean, how do we get to this point?
First,
how do we even get to this point?
First off, it's just crazy. It's so amazing to be here. It's so surreal because I remember the first time when I got on the phone with you and you called me and then we talked, we spoke on the phone, we outlined strategies, and you're like, see you in 90 days. And I'm like, oh, 90 days. And fast forward, here we are. It's so crazy. But a little bit about me. I grew up in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, to be precise.
Uh-huh.
And then I moved out to the United States for college. I got my bachelor's in chemical engineering from UL Lafayette. And then after I graduated, I got some offers and decided to take my skill sets to Houston, Texas. And I'm still working and do real estate after hours,
So why be a chemical engineer that does wholesale real estate on the side? Like, what is your goal with being a real estate entrepreneur?
My goal is to, go into multifamily. And that's what started my whole real estate journey. So very typical, like a lot of people today, my real estate journey started with, YouTube University, so I just got on. It was December of 18. Didn't have much going on. So I was just watching videos, and it was Grant Cardone.
Yep.
I stumbled upon his videos. It was a lot of MFR content at the time, multifamily residents. And I just got very intrigued, and I decided to buy his book, How to Create Wealth Investing in Real Estate. And then the wheels started turning in my mind, And then I went even further because I was on this Grant Cardone high, And then I went to the 10X Growth Conference, and that blew my mind. 35,000 entrepreneurs. I was just in an amazing place. And leaving that conference, I was absolutely sold.
Yeah.
That real estate was going to be a vehicle for wealth creation for me long term.
And how old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 16 when I came to the United States.
16 years old.
Yep.
And was there something in you at 16 years old that said, that spoke to you about real estate, or did real estate come in college? Like, when did that spark get to you? Because I get it. You ran into Grant Cardone's content. You went to the conference. You did all those things.
Yeah.
But something had to have put you on that path
Right.
to even start looking at real estate as an investment vehicle, or as a lifestyle, or as a goal that you wanted to achieve. This owning. I mean, is there something growing up, something that was? I mean, you're 22 years old.
Yeah.
Is there something growing up that was like, you know what? I want to own multifamily properties for whatever reason.
I would say if I look back, it was my dad. So my dad is a legal practitioner, but he also does the focuses on real estate. So he does the legal fees and stuff like that. And so that's where I guess that was my first exposure to real estate. And then with my aunties, they buy real estate and make so much money off of it. And so I knew that I was going to get into real estate at some point. It was just a ticking clock.
Do they live in Houston?
They live in Houston, and I have some other aunties that the auntie that actually inspired me. She lives in the United Kingdom, the UK, and so she will buy properties back home and make so much money off of it, and it was just crazy. And then looking in the United States, where it's more structured and lots of more, you can analyze way better.
Yep.
It was a no-brainer for me. Yep.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
No, like one family member like sparked an interest in you as a young man. Like you're going to do this to younger generations of your cousins and children and family. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
They're going to see you on this podcast, on the YouTube channel. By the way, if you're listening to this podcast, definitely check out the video of this at Brent Daniels' YouTube channel. Put a face with a voice. But, honestly, that is what's so exciting about this business, because once you get this rolling, once you get past the 22,000, quote unquote failures, right? The faster you fail, the faster you learn, the faster you learn, the faster you grow, the faster you grow, the faster you win.
Yeah.
And now you're at that point now where you've built up your pipeline, and that's incredible. And now you're rolling with it, but now you're an example to the whole family and friends and network and people that just surround you, people that are in your world, of what can happen if you really dedicate yourself to learning how to find real estate opportunities.
Yeah, it was crazy. Once I was sold, it was quitting on strategies, but never really quitting on the goal, right? So I would re-strategize, maybe test a new market or do some new marketing or somewhat, but we're always like I set on the goal. I knew I had to make it work.
Awesome. So now speak to your schedule, right?
Okay.
So you've got, do you have a traditional 9 to 5? Are you going into the office this year? Are you not going into the office? Like, what does that look like?
So it was that I was going to the office a lot, but with the pandemic and all that happened, I was able to get a home office going. So I love it now because I wake up like 6 and I roll out and I'm at my workstation. Don't have to get ready or all that, but my schedule, typically I like wake up at 6, start work, and I like to start early so that I'm done at 4, because I know once it's 4, I'm trying to prepare for TTP and get my don't block my golden hours from 5 to 7. That's when I prospect. Yeah. And after that, I prospect from 5 to 7 every day, and after that, I just do regular stuff, play Call of Duty and just hang out with friends, stuff like that.
Incredible. So at 22, you have the discipline to work as a chemical engineer, and then from 5 to 7 make cold calls and look for opportunities and find people that have a problem, somebody that has a distressed property situation that you can help them solve.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now, was it hard? I mean, was it hard getting into that routine? You know what I mean? Going from, I'm working this full-time job to now I'm doing this thing else and I'm building that. Was it hard to start? Was it hard making those calls in the beginning? I mean, 22,000 no's essentially, or people, at least conversation, or at least calls that you made without having, income coming in. Like, was it difficult to set up that habit? Let's start there.
I think it was difficult to start, but the goal was, I wanted to gain freedom. I don't want to go the traditional route of working and retiring at 65.
Yep.
So I know it's life. It's always hard. It's either you just choose your heart. Life is hard. You choose your heart. So I chose, to face it. Prospecting is hard. Embrace it. And so once you start getting into the routine, it was much easier. And once you start seeing some success, you're getting yeses or, maybes, it pushes you and drives you to want to keep going.
Incredible. I mean, so you're telling me you call 10 hours a week after you work your 9 to 4 or 8 to 4 or whatever it is, right? Yeah. I mean, are you exhausted at the end of the day? Are you excited at the end of the day? Like when you're getting ready to flip the switch from being chemical engineer a day to real estate wholesaler a day, like, are you excited about, like, how do you make that switch? Because that's a totally different mind, now you're using your skills as a communicator and talking and sales and understanding people's communication styles, where chemical engineering, I mean, you're working numbers, you're working, spreadsheets. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I think what excites me is the fact that, with a phone call, you can create an opportunity, right? And so I start off my day, working. Once I transition from my 9 to 5, I start off with working the sales pyramid. So that's what excites me, So you start with the people or prospects in my pipeline that are close to getting out, and you work that first, and that gives you pump to,
Yes.
to go and.
This is such an advantage. Yeah, keep going.
And to go and rock and be a rhino. So. Yeah, I really, there's definitely some tough days, for sure, and that's what I typically use that time from 4 to 5 to build my mental. Okay, I'm about to do this 2 hours, and then I put my mind on Call of Duty afterwards, and so let me get this done, and then I get on.
You got a reward.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Is there something specific, maybe some tips that you could give to the listeners and the people viewing that you do between 4 and 5 that helps you make that transition? Because the transitions in life are what really drain us of energy, right? We talk about time management, we talk about priority management, but really what we're all talking about is energy management. Right. Energy management is everything, and we just know based on science that the transitions that we have in life are what really pulls a lot of the mental energy that we have. So is there something specific that you do between 4 and 5 that kind of gets you into that mode? Is it something you listen to? Is it something you watch? Is it just nothing?
Yeah,
just meditative, like chill.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a ritual that I do before cold calling.
Yeah,
I guess maybe I remind myself of the things I've read. Like, Robert Kiyosaki would say that, there's a golden opportunity every week. If
every
you
week.
Go out and find it. So knowing what I want to create for myself long term, I keep that in the back of my mind too, freedom. And so that motivates me to grind out the hard days.
Yeah. What about goals? Are you writing down your goals? Are you posting things on the wall, sayings or goals, or like a beach or a car or a house or something? Yeah, talk to me about what you do for your goals. Are you writing them down? Are they in front of you? What are they?
Yeah, so I do have a whiteboard in my bedroom, and I follow what Robert Kiyosaki says, right? So I list out all my assets, and I list out all my liabilities, and I keep track of that. And the drive is keep building up the asset column, right? And so I have the goals. I have like what I say every morning, because I got this from reading Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. So you have to manifest that every morning. So I have what I say. My goal is to become by 30 years old to be a millionaire, and I'll do this by being a rhino wholesaling real estate, and this will allow me to build a rental portfolio and start a high income business. And so I say that every single day.
So smart.
And then
smart.
I have it up on my whiteboard, and it keeps me motivated.
Yeah, pull that. Yeah, well, I think it's incredible. And listen, what a great start to this whole financial journey for you, because you're tracking your assets and liabilities, which, first of all, 86% of Americans don't do, right? No, honestly, I mean, that's just the truth. Don't track anything. Don't have a budget. Don't look at where they're at. Don't have a goal that they're actually tracking, right? It's like one of those things that it's like, well, if I make money, I'll put it away. If I don't, then, I'll get by and I'll try to figure things out and, kind of tread water for a little bit, but I don't really have a clear plan. You have a clear plan, which is incredible. And I think that is what is so important. And I think that's really the message of this podcast today is if you have that goal as your foundation, as your core, you can make 22,000 calls and keep going knowing something good is going to happen. Right?
Yep.
So as you're making these calls, as you're going through all this, were you getting frustrated? Were you feeling like your skills were getting better? Like, how do you, in my experience, I talk to people and they say, Brent, I called for 2 hours straight and I didn't get a deal. And I'm like, call more. It's going to take more than that, right? And then they go, I've called for a week straight. I've called for a month straight, and I don't have a deal. Well, how many leads do you have? Well, I have 8 leads. Okay. Well, then are you following up? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's going to take some time. There is a rhythm to this. There is a process to the sales cycle from the first time that you talk to somebody till you get paid on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that takes some time. And for you, it was about, 90 days? What was it from the first day that you started calling to you closing your first deal?
With TTP, after I joined TTP, I would say it was a little over 90 days.
Yep.
More like 100 and maybe 10, maybe.
Yep. Yep.
But it was worth it. It was worth it. But I definitely had the days where, like I'm like, I remember I called you severally. I was like, Brent, I called severally, and then we walked through my pipeline. How many yeses do you have? How many maybes? And then you're like, dude, I see 5 deals in this pipeline.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I'll keep going at it.
And you've got 4 of them. You've got 4 of them right now.
Yep.
Awesome. So let's break down a deal.
Sure, let's do it.
Let's break down a deal. First of all, what is your favorite list to call? Do you have a favorite?
My 2 favorites are, of course, driving for dollars.
Yes.
That's the greedy list.
Yeah. and who do you use? You use an app?
Yeah, I use Deal Machine.
Deal Machine. Yep.
Drive around. It's very easy to add properties and export it to Excel and skip tracing and all that.
Anybody interested in driving for dollars? It's a list. It is a staple list that every wholesaler needs to have. And Deal Machine makes it super easy. Make sure you use the coupon code TTP. When you check out, you get it for $40 instead of $50. It's a little bit of savings, but it's worth it. But go ahead. So you've been building up your driving for dollars.
Yeah, and then the second one I like to call is the tired landlord list.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the parameters, high equity, old property has been at least 20 years old and stuff like that. So I think for my first deal, that's what I did. So I did the hot zip code strategy. So I used ListSource as a research tool to pull all the zip codes and see where cash buyers were actively buying. And so I knew if I got a deal in that area, I was going to be able to move it. And so I did that, got the zip code, and then I pulled the tired landlord list specific to that zip code. And
love it.
That's how I got the first one.
Your first deal was a tired landlord. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay.
So you call up the owner.
Yeah.
And you ask them if they would consider an offer on their property.
Yeah.
What did they say to you?
It was one of those that you get and just like, oh, you're calling about this property? Give me X amount. She was like, give me $33,000. That's it. Just the straight ones,
right?
The laydowns. And so,
what was going through your head? What was going through your head when she said that?
This is real. This is real. Because I looked at the numbers before, and I think the county appraisal was like 50. And so she said, telling me 33. That's already under what the county appraised it for. So I was like, maybe there's something on this, And
there's something on this. Yeah. So then, what do you do? Did you set an appointment? Did you? Did it take a long time to follow up with her? Was the timeline real short?
Yeah, the timeline was short. I set an appointment like 3 days after. It actually turned out to be somewhat of a probate because her husband just passed about 6 months ago, and so it was good because it was at the point where she was still emotional, but at least at the point where she was ready to do something with the property. Right. And so she told me a price, and was able to work with it. I got it on the contract, sent it out to the cash buyers, and sold it in an hour.
In an hour.
Yeah, that was my first one. It was amazing.
So let's unpack this a little bit for somebody that's never done a deal before. Okay, so you put this property under contract at 33. Was it 33?
No, I got it under to 30. I put it.
So you got it to 30. You got her down.
Yeah.
You got her down to 30,000. Okay. And how did you build your cash buyer list?
So this was my first deal, right? I didn't have and I told you I moved to the outskirts, so I didn't build much of a cash buyer list in that market. And so it was pretty much just Facebook cash buyers, going on Facebook, typing, cash buyers in certain groups, and just scrubbing the list. And I sent it out. I think it was like 200 people. And
so wait, you go into the search bar in Facebook and put in cash buyers?
On specific groups in Facebook within your market. So like Houston, I had like the Houston Real Estate Group, or, and just type cash buyers and you see a lot.
I love that. That's brilliant. So you're in the group and then you do the little search in the group and just put cash buyer.
Right.
And then it pops up people that say, hey, I'm a cash buyer.
Yeah, and just pull their emails and that's it.
Come on, man. That is incredible. Okay. So then you blast it out to that group.
Yeah.
And somebody emails you back, calls you back. What do they do?
Yeah, within an hour, I get a email response, and just like, I like this property. I just bought one a street over. I want to look at it. And 6 p.m. that day, we met at the property. He looked at it. He brought his realtor and contractor.
Yep.
And they looked at it, and he'll send me an offer in the morning, and that was it.
And that was it.
That was my first one.
So $30,000, and you sold it for how much?
37.
37. So you made
That was the first one, yes.
That was the first one. And
Yeah.
you followed that one up with how much did you make on your second deal?
28.
28,000. What about your third deal?
30 I kept for myself.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. And your fourth?
And 7,000.
7,000. Come on now. Here we go.
That's the magic bell.
That's it. That's the deal bell, brother. That is incredible. I mean, so you're talking 7,000, 7,000, 14,000, 28,000, $42,000.
Yep.
And then you have another deal that was this would have been a massive deal. We talked about this before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Break that one down.
Yeah, so this was a deal I actually got not from the traditional like title landlord list or so. This was an expired listing lead.
Interesting.
And
okay.
So I worked with a realtor who like has access to sellers that the listing has expired.
Yeah.
So he sent me that, and I do text blasting on those particular leads. So I just told him, hey, I saw your property on XYZ, just got off the market. I just checking to see if you would be interested in an investor offer at this time, and so that's what I did with that property. And the guy was like, yeah, I'll actually will. And I got it for 106. His offer was 190. He said
he had it on the market for 190.
No, he had it on the market for 200.
200.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So he had it. So just to explain a little bit to everybody. So when a property is listed by a real estate agent, it goes on the market. If they don't sell it within the listing agreement that they have, typically it's 6 months. Sometimes it's 90 days. It just depends. Then it goes and it's called expired. Right, the listing is expired, and you can get a list of these expired. Typically, in our world, in the real estate investing world, it's not really a very distressed list. I mean, obviously, they were trying to get a certain price that was too high already.
Yep.
So you have to typically get them way lower than what they originally listed for. And is that why you text them instead of call?
Exactly.
So you can kind of
right.
You could just get the low hanging fruit.
Yeah, so that's exactly why I just do a text blast to those guys and see the ones that maybe will consider an investor offer and then go from there. If they show interest, then I'll probably get them on the phone and talk more. But yeah, that's how I got that.
So how much did he want?
He wanted one. When I texted him, he said yes. Remember, he listed it for 200.
Yeah.
And then he said he would take 190 for it. But
I bet.
That wasn't much of a deal for me. And I talked to him about maybe doing a seller finance or stuff like that. And comes to find out that he was like, okay, let's meet at the property, see what you think about it, and then we'll discuss. So I go up to the property. He tours me around. Good condition, solid. It's just listed on the market. New AC, new roof, and it's solid. And then we got talking. And he's like, I like you. I'll give you for 165.
Because he liked you.
Yes, because he liked me.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
it's amazing what happens
Yeah.
when you go on an appointment with certainty and likability. Those are your two biggest. I mean, those are your tools. Just being certain that you can help them out and likability.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And that's you. That's you in a nutshell, really. You're fantastic. But I mean, it's just so people don't understand. Wait, people will give me a discount because they like me? Yes, they will. Here's proof.
Yeah, he has so
proof.
many properties, so it doesn't really hurt him at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 165.
Yeah. So I bought it. When I got it under contract for 165, then I'm thinking to myself, do I wholesale this? This is actually a good price. Should I keep it for myself? So I ended up keeping it for myself because I did some numbers. At the end of the day, I was going to be getting like a $600 cash flow from it. Mm-hmm. And I felt like the equity wasn't going anywhere. I have the built-in equity. And so I was like, okay, I'll close on it. And I closed on it. And 2 weeks after I closed, an investor calls me because I did an open house because I wanted to rent it out. And 2 weeks after, an investor actually came to the open house, and she called me and she was like, you know what? I actually want to make you an offer for this house. And she made an offer that was $55,000 over what I bought it for.
$220,000.
She made $220,000.
Did she know that it was on the market before at $200,000?
Yeah, she saw it on the market for $200,000, and so she said, okay, she'll give me $220,000 because she knew the market, and she said that she was interested in the property.
Is it because it's in an area that like people are expanding to? Like, is it an up and coming neighborhood?
Yeah, it's actually it's actually an older neighborhood, but it has very good school district. Like all the schools were A plus, and it was just a great area, and so it's a good rental market too, less than 5% vacancy, and so she was interested in it, but I was like.
So you could have,
yep.
you could have almost $100,000
Yep.
in additional income outside of what you're making as a chemical engineer in your first. I mean, you start what, May, June? When did you start?
May 2019.
Yeah.
That's when I started full time. Yep.
Right. I mean, absolutely incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you have? Like, is there something in your mind, a place in your mind where you go to this 100% full time? You know what I mean? And you're no longer a chemical engineer?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I think I still like what I do. Obviously, I have the days.
This is so funny because I'm telling you, really successful wholesalers that are also engineers love being engineers. They don't want to stop doing it. I had one group making over $1 million a year in wholesale, still work full time.
I do know that I'll probably get to the point where, I'm maybe not learning as much anymore.
Right.
And maybe I want to go into real estate full time then. But I said, now I'm still learning and loving it. So I don't think I'm quitting full time just yet.
That's awesome. What does your family think? Do you talk to them about these? I mean, especially your family that's in real estate.
Right. My parents are really, really proud of me. They really, really encouraged me and very proud that I took this on. As parents, they're happy that I have a good job,
sure.
and all, but this is like a cherry on the cake, right? They love it and they're really proud of me. Yep.
I love it. Well, how do people, if people want to reach out to you and just be in your world, how do they get a hold of you? How do they reach out?
Best way would be on Instagram. My name on Instagram is GM_ADE, so GM_ADE. And I'm really responsive on there. So, yeah. DM
him, especially if you're in the Houston area. This is somebody that you definitely want in your network. You want, he's only going up. You're only taking off. It's going to be incredible. So if you are in Houston or wherever, if something in your gut is telling you to reach out to him, definitely reach out. He's going to respond, and that'll be so good. So give some advice to people starting out. What do you think that they should do, their first steps, so that they can get their first deal?
I would say in any market, I think whatever marketing channel you're using, so bandit signs, cold calling, door knocking, direct mail, whatever it is, think about it from 2 points of view, right? So one is how efficient is it, and 2 is how effective is it. So efficient is how much activity are you able to generate within a set time block. So activity being like how much appointments are you setting, how much contacts are you making, and effectiveness is of those activity. How much does that actually converts or closes?
Yep.
And so if you do that to test what marketing channel in different areas, because it's different in different markets.
Yep.
If you combine your efficiency with effectiveness, you definitely get a deal. And of course, don't be held back by the 3 P's. Persistence. Don't procrastinate. It's easy to procrastinate, but costs you a lot. Mm-hmm. Don't try to be perfect.
Yep.
Because messy success beats perfect mediocrity every single day of the week.
Yep.
And don't get stuck in analysis paralysis.
That's it.
Go after
the 3 P's.
Yeah.
You crushed it. And that's the absolute truth. And I find it very interesting, just from my side as a coaching TTP. I have a lot of engineers or analytical type minds that join because they know without a doubt it's a numbers game.
Right.
And once you understand that once it's that it's a numbers game and it's front loaded to where you're building up your pipeline, you can keep doing it. It makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why it attracts a lot of people that think about it. What is the best way, the most efficient way, the most effective way to get these opportunities, and it's picking up and talking to them directly.
Yep.
And time again, it beats hands down. It beats everything else. So
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's That's it. I mean, you listen, our job is there are distressed property owners out there in the market, in our communities, and there are cash buyers that need to find opportunities to fix and flip, to hold in their portfolio or to live in them or develop or whatever else. They need deals. They do not want to deal with the emotions of a distressed property owner. A distressed property owner does not want to communicate with somebody that doesn't care about them. And that's why we exist. And that's why we get paid so well. Pleasure. Thank you for being on here.
Great having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And for everybody out there, if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check it out. Scroll down. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. I look forward to working with you personally. So that is it. Thank you so much for flying in, sharing the TTP podcast studio here with me. And everybody in Houston, everybody around, reach out to Aday. He's absolutely fantastic. And until next time, guys, I encourage you to talk to people. See ya. Love you.